The number of lives that have perished in this fire, it's very high and it's quite settling. And it's at this point that as we work together, we're supporting the city of Johannesburg, supporting the Gauteng province, and supporting the families that have lost loved ones. We need to come together as a nation and ensure that an incident like this does not happen again. An incident like this where buildings are hijacked and people stay there in unconducive, inhumane conditions does not happen. It needs all of us collectively, the non-governmental sector, the government and the private sector, to work together to prevent what has happened today. We need to send our messages to the mothers who have lost their children, the families who have lost their loved ones, and those who have been injured. And we are informed that the city and the Gauteng province, the MEC for Human Settlements, are going to make provision for temporary shelter for the ones who no longer have accommodation now. And that provision is not going to be discriminating whether you are legally in the country or whether you are in the country illegally for now, so that we can then deal with a humanitarian situation that is confronting us. We are pleading to those who are hijacking buildings to stop, but also with our people not to fall for the hijacked buildings. You can see around us, there are buildings that have been renewed. There is a project underway with the city of Johannesburg for the revitalization of the city center and the CBD. And that project will not continue if we are continuously, as government, taken to court to prevent the eviction of those who have occupied the buildings illegally. It is a time that, as we reflect and commit that an incident like this should not recur in our country, that as a nation we must come together and have a deep conversation to say the moving of people, the eviction of people in abandoned buildings, in condemned buildings, is not inhumane, is the protection and the saving of lives. We must have a conversation of what do we do with those who have received housing subsidies in their rural homes when they come to the cities and they need affordable housing. How do we accommodate them? But also it's a conversation we must have to say, what do we do with those who are fleeing into our country and they do not want to be legally registered and documented in this country? So that how do we house them, how do we accommodate them? But it's also about us as a community to say, when you are residing in a neighboring building and you see that a crime is taking place, including the hijacking of buildings, you notify the authorities that must respond to make sure that the evictions can happen timelessly without having an incident of this nature. It must also mean ourselves who are neighbors, we must stand watch as community watch to make sure that the illegal connections of electricity also do not take place.